This video is about to change your life. If you follow everything that I'm going to outline in this video, then your life will never be the same again in 2025. I want you to use this video as your mini playbook and come back to it when you feel lost. It literally has everything that you need to step into the most authentic version of you in 2025. This video isn't about becoming this whole new you because you aren't broken. There isn't anything wrong with you. You don't need a whole new you because what you actually need is to learn to work with who you really are. You need to learn how to optimize you and basically become the absolute best version of you. That is what you actually need in the new year. I just hate all these people and videos coming out right now telling you that you need to reinvent yourself for the new year because it essentially makes you feel like there is something wrong with you and that you are broken and that you need some deep level of fixing in order to step into that next level of success or ultimately build the life of your dreams. My friend, let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with you. You aren't broken. You aren't incapable of anything in life. The sad truth is that no one's ever taught you how to actually work with your brain. No one's ever taught you how to step into that best version of you because that part of you does exist. The absolute best version of you is there deep within you, probably catching a little dust, and it's beneath all the expectations, standards, and noise the outside world has set for you. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can unearth this version of yourself. And the key to this is to not become a whole new you. The key to this is to become more of you. It's to silence all the noise and to look within you to see the greatness that lies within you. And I'm so pumped that you are here watching this video because 2025 is the year that you become the absolute most incredible, authentic version of you. It's the year you start to see how awesome you really are and all the amazingness that you have to offer to the world. This past year was truly a pivotal year for me to step into my most authentic self. I went through a lot of crazy experiences this past year that forced me to truly start owning what I want out of my life and unapologetically claiming that for myself. I went from being this people pleaser who was constantly caring what other people thought to me now caring about the only person's opinion that matters the most, which is, of course, mine. Obviously, I'm not perfect at all of this, and your goal shouldn't be to be perfect at this either, because the truth is that we're all humans, and as humans, we will always care a little bit what other people want from us and expect from us, and that's because we are tribal beings. And way back in the day, if we weren't accepted by our tribe and we were kicked out, that would literally mean death for us. And it's because it's hard to survive on your own, right? But now, of course, that rule doesn't apply to us today, but our brain still reacts to these things like it did with our ancestors because we haven't evolved that much as species yet. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not about never caring what other people think, but it's about making sure that other people's voices, standards, and expectations don't become ours. It's about making sure that we, at the end of the day, are living a life authentic to ourselves and what matters the most to us and not the people around us. This is truly one of the absolute best things that we can learn to practice. In this video, I'm going to share 5 steps to help you become more of you in 2025 and set up systems in place in your life that are essentially going to help you embody the best version of you on a day-to-day basis. I would honestly recommend go grab a piece of paper and a pencil or pen because I am going to have a whole bunch of reflection questions outlined for you, and I really want to encourage you to do the work. I don't want you to be one of those people who is just going to watch this video and then say, yeah, I'll get to this one later or bookmark it or whatever, because trust me, the truth is that you won't. And then you're going to start the year, and then in a few months you are going to start to feel super shitty because you never actually took the time to reflect, to think, and to really set a strong foundation for the year to start. For step 1, we're going to start at the end. Before we set up systems in place that help you truly embody the best version of you, I want you to have clarity on what this version of you is going to actually look like. So let's go through some reflection questions to help you get clarity on this. You can literally pause this video and work through these reflection questions now, this is what I would honestly recommend. I would also say to actually write them down instead of just answering these questions in your head. There's just something about writing things down. It just makes everything so much more powerful. So starting off, what are the 3 traits or qualities that you admire in yourself, and how can you express them more fully in 2025? I love this one because we are constantly trying to play down on ourselves and we're just so afraid of what other people are going to think of us. Like, what is that part of you that you have been hiding because you are so freaking scared about what Nancy down the street is thinking? For me, one of the traits that I truly love about myself is my generosity and giving. And I want to more openly give in the new year, and this could mean financially, or it could mean giving my time to others, or doing more of these videos where I educate and support you in building a strong brain. This is going to give you space to be more unapologetically you. Here's another one. This one is like super juicy and I love it. If you stripped away expectations of others, what would you prioritize in your life next year? This is such a good one because think about it, right? Like, how many times do you put your own things in the back burner because you put other people's needs and expectations first? I am sure that there are a ton of things that you can think of. I would say for this question, pick like 1 or 2 things max because you don't want to overdo it. I feel like for me, it's definitely been my health and my business. I feel like whenever I'm around other people, all the things that I like to do for my health like just go out the window. And I start adopting my eating habits based on the people that I'm around. I also find that for my business, I can end up saying yes to too many social plans instead of really setting hard boundaries around what I am focusing on in this era of my life. So, see how reflecting can help you get so much more clarity. This is why this stuff is so important. Now, the last one that I want to give you in this section is if you were already living as your most authentic self, what would your relationships, career, and lifestyle look like in 2025? Take a moment to get really clear in all these areas. Like, how would you show up in these areas? Would you maybe set more boundaries in your relationships? What about with your career? Would you maybe take more risks or ask for more things in your job? Or maybe you would just post more online. Would you maybe wake up earlier? Schedule out time to meal prep, or maybe you would opt into a meal delivery service. Like, really think about these things. This is going to give you so much more clarity on the systems that you essentially need to set in place so that you can really be your most authentic self in the new year. Once you have a clear understanding of this vision and version of you looks like, we're going to now move on to step number 2. I would highly encourage you again to pause this video so that you can get clarity on your vision, because this is going to help you to create a very strong foundation for the next few steps that follow. Step number 2 is all about looking at the past year to see what roadblocks and challenges came up for you that stopped you from stepping into your most authentic self. So think about that version of yourself that you truly wanted to be last year. You can use your vision as well, and then list out all the things that held you back. It's very important for you to reflect on this so that you can build strategies around these things so that they essentially don't hold you back from stepping into the most authentic version of you in 2025. Because if they do, then it means that not much has really changed in your life, and you will essentially find yourself back stuck in the same patterns over and over again, which is exactly what we don't want. I can definitely give my example from last year. So last year, I went through some really hard things in my personal life that just completely rocked my entire world. And something that stuck out to me last year was just how much I cared about what other people thought of me, to the point where I wouldn't even think for myself. And instead, I would just immediately react to things based on what other people wanted from me. Looking back, it just makes me really sad. I have spent so much of my life being concerned about other people and my image that it would just lead me to hide parts of me and dim my dreams down and push away the things that I really wanted in my life. This was an experience that I really needed to wake up to, aka how much I was letting other people determine the type of life that I essentially wanted to live. I am now in this place where I am just completely unapologetic about the life that I want. And I stay away from people that don't support that. I stay away from the people that want to make me feel small about the big, bold life that I truly, truly want to live. So for me, this year, I'm going to set systems in place that are going to allow me to trust my own inner gut and intuition instead of trying to tune into the people around me. This is just one example. So I want you to list out all the things that you can think of in the past year that stopped you from owning yourself and essentially stepping into that best version of you. Once you've done that, you can now step into step number 3. And this step is all about setting systems in place that help you be more of you on a day-to-day basis. What do I mean by this? I mean that you need to intentionally be tuning into this version of yourself throughout the day. The world is a noisy place, my friend. It's so easy to get lost in the chaos of what's happening around you. The other issue is that this new habit that you are building for yourself, your current default has been to make yourself small and to hide yourself. So this means that you will intentionally need to step into your most authentic self over and over again until this version of you becomes second nature to you to embody on a day-to-day basis. It's eventually will become that over time and with enough practice. So an example of this would be you waking up in the morning and you doing an activity that helps you step into that best version of you. So in the morning, for example, when I wake up, I spend about 10 minutes meditating, which is where I calm my nervous system response down, and I really try to set an intention of who I want to be showing up as during the day. Then I will journal and do 10 minutes of some sort of movement. This morning routine essentially sets my mind for the day, and it reminds me of the version of myself that I am intentionally stepping into that day. Something else that I also like to do throughout the day is as I transition from one activity to the next, I set the intention of the version of myself that I essentially want to show up as. Usually I have 2 to 3 words that I align myself with right now. Right now, those words are slow, calm, and confident. So this reminds my brain of the version of myself that I'm intentionally stepping into, and it essentially acts as like a little reset. I do want to emphasize that this is not just something you do once. It's something that you need to do over and over again. Because why? Because we live in a noisy AF world. That is why. When your world is noisy and distracting, you need to remind your brain that what you are working towards essentially over and over again. Now, step number 4 is creating a system to help you separate your needs, wants, and expectations from other people's. One of the best ways to do this is to pause before reacting. This is going to go so far for you. What a lot of us do is that, someone will say something or ask something of us, and before we know it, we will immediately react to them or we'll say yes to them, and then we have so many regrets that follow. This is honestly one that I have struggled with so much. When you are someone who is just so used to putting other people first and abiding by their expectations instead of your own, you end up as this person who just becomes extremely sensitive to other people. My family knows me as the one to explode when I'm being criticized, and honestly, I will take absolutely full responsibility of that. And this is because I just care so much about what they think of me that I literally cannot tolerate them thinking of me as anything but freaking awesome. So when they give any sort of criticism to me, it just plain hurts. And this is something that I am working on. I've also been the type of person to just immediately say yes to hanging out with other people, even if I don't have the capacity to, because I don't want to disappoint. I have found that if I just give myself a pause, which can look like either stepping away or telling someone, let me just check my schedule, it gives me the space to actually think about what I want to be doing instead of giving into their expectations, needs, and or wants. So Think about what system you are going to put into place so that you can separate yourself from other people. The more that you can essentially do that, the more that you will live a life that is authentic to you and what you want at the end of the day. The last step to all of this is step number 5. This is all about setting a system in place to bring you back home to yourself when you feel lost. I honestly cannot stress how important this is. It is so important for you to set a system in place to help you get connected with yourself and essentially realign yourself to what you are working towards being. Stuff's gonna happen in 2025, and some of it is going to be hard and heavy, and it will make you feel lost. Like, expect that to happen. It's life, okay? And I always say that life is gonna life. So, how are you going to handle life lifing? It all comes back down to your systems. Like I said before, I went through some really, really hard things in the past year. And there were so many moments where I felt lost, where I felt broken, where I felt hurt. And these were moments where I just felt so far away from myself and who I was that I just didn't know what to do. This is where I really had to turn inwards and do things that brought me back home to myself. Honestly, one of my favorite activities was to practice my visualization meditations. This is where I took 5 to 10 minutes from my day to picture what I wanted my most ideal life to look like and who I wanted to show up as in my most ideal life. It just reset things for me and reminded me of who I was trying to embody. Sometimes we need these external reminders to pull us back to ourselves when we feel like we have strayed away. Another thing that would also help for me too in these moments where I felt lost was just reflecting on the feelings that I was experiencing and ultimately tuning into what I needed in that moment really helped. So, taking these moments to just realign myself really helped me to push forward during the hard times because, like, let me tell you, the amount of days that I had in the past year where it just felt impossible to get out of bed were unreal. So you need to have these systems in place. Your systems are everything. This is how you are going to step more into you and embrace your awesome freaking self in 2025. It's so underrated that, this piece about becoming more of you and how that really propels you into that next level of success that you want to get into. Like, seriously, remember that there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You simply need to own more of who you are and step more into that version of yourself. And if you want to step into your next level of success in 2025, then book a complimentary 30-minute breakthrough session with me and let's chat about what support for you looks like.